Aloha all, this is Doug Davis, broker in charge with Corambi Realty. And today uh, I'm going to talk about how to evaluate a ground lease and ground lease of a leasehold condo or a house, the ground lease and the ground lease summary. So what's this about? Well, if you buy a leasehold property in Hawaii, you're required by law to have a ground lease summary of the document that relates to the property. So here's what started. Many years ago, the leasehold properties became a main topic of contention with the public as monthly lease rents started escalating. They were renegotiated and went up substantially. And simultaneously, Bishop Estate was being sued by the public for having an oligarchy and price fixing and increasing the rents substantially. And then not only that, there were hundreds of high-rise leasehold high-rise condos all over town having the same action, lease rent renegotiation and it increased monthly rents. So the legislature got involved. Public was crying out that they didn't really understand what they were getting into when they were buying leasehold. The leases now were all renegotiating and there's huge increases and they didn't think it would be that much and so forth and so on. I mean, some of these were going from $30 a month to over $1,000 a month. So it was a pretty big jump. So they passed a law, and still is a law, that when you sell a residential leasehold property, house or condo, that the ground lease be given to the buyer and with it a plain English summary of it. Either the seller can do this, I would not advise that, and you'll see why, or you can have an attorney firm summarize it in plain English that takes care of what the legislature was asking for. So I'm going to quickly just show you a ground lease summary to see what's involved with this, and you can follow along. I'll do that fairly quickly here. So here it is. It summarizes the length of the lease term. This is just a sample. The fixed lease rents, and it's fixed for a while, and then it's not, and that comes up to lease rent renegotiations. Goes over how lease rent is renegotiated, frequency of lease payments, what happens at the end of the lease, and then all the other things. There's pages and pages and pages of this, of all the other things in the ground lease. Ground leases are 30 to 50 pages long. So this just summarizes all the different things involved. So I won't bore you with the details, but just want to give you an inkling of that. You know, it's interesting, leasehold is still, it's declining because people are converting. Either people are buying the lease fee interest and getting their fee simple title, or the lease ends and the landowner gets the property back, or some variations on that. But in the last year, there were 295 leasehold sales. That's about 3% plus of the marketplace on Oahu. So it's still fairly substantial. Most of this is in Honolulu town. That's where most of the condos are that are still leasehold. Waikiki, Makiki, they're actually all over the entire island with the exception of the North Shore, which didn't have any in the past year. Maybe they don't have any, but the entire island still has leasehold properties and they're still selling. So, okay, so what next? So if you're buying a leasehold residential property, you're required to have the ground lease and the summary and any amendments, and it gives the chance to the buyer to review, approve, or disapprove of what they see, what they get. Make sure that they understand what's happening. Okay, so there's ramifications buying leasehold. If you don't disclose, you may be subject to a financial penalty from the state. The way it started was with a $1,000 penalty if you did not provide a leasehold summary in plain English plus the documents. And there are exemptions to that. If you're transferring it within the family, to a spouse, to parents, children of the seller, you do not have to provide it. If you are a company, corporation, or ordered by the court, such as a bankruptcy or a foreclosure or partition sale, all of those situations are exempt from this leasehold process. And the cost of the leasehold summary is about $300 more or less. So that's that part. But it may affect your decision to buy based on the length of the lease, how much time is left. It affects your ability to obtain a loan. If it's less than 35 years, or 30 years, you can't get a normal bank loan. And if it's very short, you can't get any bank loans at all. So then the price just has to go down, down, down until you can solicit cash offers. So it does affect your ability for resale. So your decision to buy affects your ability to get loans, your ability to resale. What else? Other ramifications would be, well, the reversion, that's really interesting. That's at the end. In most cases, the lease ends and you just simply have to leave. And that's happened to many condos on Oahu already. Some of them, and this is the real kicker, some of them, the lessees, all the condo owners are required at the end of the lease to remove the building and just have bare dirt. That would be expensive. So you want to look and see what kind of surrender clause you have on your ground lease. That's one of the reasons, good reasons, that we have this opportunity to review in plain English what happens at the very end. So in a condo, you would get a master lease, or sometimes called an apartment lease, and any amendments. And if it's a cooperative, you get the master lease and the proprietary lease to review. You want to also look for any amendments too, so they may have changed something, and so that's a very important part of it. So that's about it. This is a wonderful opportunity. When you buy, you get a far reduced price than a comparable fee simple property, but it's a short term usually, and at the end of it, the value of your property is zero because it goes back to the landowner. But this process of being able to review is the saving grace, so that you understand and go in with your eyes wide open and understand what you're doing. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any other topics you'd like to hear about, love to hear from you. Again, Doug Davis with Crombie Realty. Have a great day.